Right. This is a treat for you guys on the Cigarette Burns. Obviously, you've just seen a couple of day reviews, and now it's our turn to review Day of the Dead. Basically, at this point, you will have already seen on my channel and on Sam's channel that we've both been uploading videos together because I came and visited Sam and his lovely wife, Bev, who's sat just out of shot there. So we decided while we're here, why don't we just film our Dead Saga reviews, basically. Together? Yeah, why not?
In a non-gay way.
In a non-gay way. Give it a chance. We're only on day.
Yeah.
By the time we get to diary, we'll probably
we'll be picking out curtains by then.
We will. We will.
Yeah, a little bit.
Although I do like the ones you've got up already.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they were from our last partner, Alphonse. He was beautiful.
Alphonse.
Alphonse.
How exotic of you.
Indeed.
So anyway, Day of the Dead. Do you want to just give your kind of brief thoughts on it and just go ahead, take...
Day of the Dead. In my opinion, Romero's greatest work, and I know that will get all the Dawn purists going, oh! But I really do think it's his best film, because for me it has the most heart-rending and nihilistic vision of a zombie apocalypse. For me, it's the film where he gets everything right. But over to Jack for the plot synopsis, really.
I think I mentioned this in my Dawn review, that Day's actually my favourite. I'll get into that. I'll get into why it's my favourite in a bit. But the basic plot of the story is a group of scientists having to coexist with a group of military rejects, essentially, in a underground missile silo. Basically, shit's hit the fan. They've been there for, is it about a year now? I
think it's about 6 to 8 months, isn't it?
6 to 8 months. So we're about half a year into the zombie outbreak, and we've got these two very different groups of people having to coexist underground, trying to survive, just trying to make a living.
Indeed.
Couldn't resist. That's the basic outline of the plot. We could go into it more, but chances are most of you guys have already seen it.
Yeah. Plus, an important thing for this film, and indeed all of Romero's films up to this point, is time scale and how things have degenerated through time. For example, as we've said, in Night of the Living Dead you have the apocalypse just beginning. Dawn of the Dead, things are gradually falling apart, but there's still some semblance of control. By Day of the Dead, the human race has been pretty much eradicated. We as a species are pretty much done. The people that are the characters in the movie that are there, I think you're supposed to believe are pretty much the only people left. I mean, that's done in the establishing shot where they're using the microphones, isn't it, to summon people.
Yeah.
The big standout for this as well, in terms of how things are degrading, is in two folds. You've got the zombies themselves and human behaviour. I mean, that's done best in the character of Rhodes, really, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Rhodes is one of the standout characters in George A. Romero's back catalogue, and there are a few from the Dead Saga which you would love to see in a film together, and they're generally from different films. You've got Ben from Night, you've got Peter and Roger from Dawn, Rhodes from Day, and to be honest, my friend Danny, who Sam kind of knows, you talked to him a few times, he's a George A. Romero enthusiast, and we grew up watching the films together and stuff like that. His favourite character, standout favourite character out of any of the Dead Saga, and this may surprise you, is Cholo from Land of the Dead, played by John Leguizamo, but we'll get on to him when we review Land, obviously. But with Day, it's probably the best example of how to build complex characters in amongst a plot that could quite easily be nothing more than a gory horror movie.
I was going to say, which interestingly is, a lot of fans don't like Day, a lot of fans of the saga, because the characters are, I would say, they're the most unlikable in a traditional sense. There aren't that many nice people in this movie. For example, the scientists, the supposedly good people. You've got the Irish drunk, which is a theme that Romero will, of course, come back to in Survival.
Fucking hell, we'll get onto that in Survival.
And, of course, you've got the smart black character, which is a trope I think Romero uses, because black people are cool in Romero world. But the thing is, all these characters are flawed. You don't have your standout hero in any of these movies. I mean, the principal scientist, who's a female, can't remember that character's name.
I can't remember her name either.
She's a token girl and she's smart. But even though she's the character you're supposed to root for, doesn't come across as incredibly likeable. And I think that's maybe why, because Day didn't do that well at the box office.
No, it's pretty much a disaster, to be honest.
Yeah.
After Dawn was like considered, even at the time, it was considered a legitimately good film.
Yeah.
Day came along and everybody was like, oh, he's fucked himself. But I mean, I think Day is his masterpiece. Although playing devil advocate a little bit here, I do think that Dawn is his most well-made and put-together movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's his most well-balanced, and it's the one that you associate with George A. Romero's name. Like, even me, Dane's my favourite. Somebody says George A. Romero to me, I immediately flash to Dawn.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them. It's like Jaws and Steven Spielberg, you know. And I know that Jaws, like, whatever, like, I consider Jaws to be Spielberg's masterpiece.
It is magnificent. Also, I just want to say, one reason why I love this movie is it's a film where George truly did not compromise. Basically, his original script was a lot denser, it was a lot more complex. He himself has said in the extra features, which are really good on the Arrow films. Yeah, I will show them the later on the Arrow films. But he does point out that he wanted it to be the Gone with the Wind, Day of the Dead of zombie movies. He had a lot more planned, but the studio said, the backers said, we'll give you the money to do all that, but you have to tone down the gore. We don't want an X rating, which it was at the time. We want a much softer rating and get more people bummed on seats. George didn't compromise. And as such, I think that's a much purer vision.
Oh, definitely.
In the film, I think that's why it can do it. Plus, it's got such a cool mid-80s synth soundtrack. I love the synth on that.
You have to. And with a lot of 80s films like this that have that kind of synth feel to them, a lot of them have dated, but to be honest, I can watch Day now, and I think it's aged well. The makeup on the Blu-ray, it kind of shows the makeup for what it is.
Yeah. I agree there.
I don't think it's dated whatsoever. I can watch Day on Blu-ray and enjoy it more than most of the modern stuff in terms of the aesthetics. I still think it's a damn good looking movie.
I've got to admit, of all the Romero films that I've got just for one to watch, I always find myself reaching for Day rather than the other five. That's just me personally.